Good day, everyone. This is your friend Dr. Arle Imperio, and we have a very important topic today. We will answer the question about the need for food supplementation. Do we really need food supplements? And if you need to take food supplements, what kind of food supplement may be advisable? So be sure that you have your notes ready, because as your doctor friend over the air here in YouTube, for example, every Thursday we will be having this regular presentation and answering different topics on health. So as usual, I would always say that prevention is always better than getting the best cure. Our focus is on having a healthy lifestyle, because we would like to live as long as possible. And then usually we focus on the values of life, livelihood, and the legacy that we would like to share and give to the next generation. So you have heard it before when I would ask the question, why forever healthy products? And we usually answer the question in this way: do you want to be healthy or sick? Of course, you want to be healthy or healthier. Number two, when would you like to be more healthy, now or later? Of course, the answer is now. And how long would you like to be more healthy? Of course, forever, quote and unquote. So forever healthy products. Okay, so we will now be discussing food supplements, and you can now see in the slide the suggested evolution of food supplements. But the main idea of food supplements, my dear friends, is to add on something which apparently is lacking from the food that we intake. The usual advice is to have a well-balanced meal, balanced diet. And there is a science on that area, and we will be discussing that later in more detail. But the idea in eating is that we take in specific nutrients that will be used by the body. The body is like a big factory, and you would be creating certain things, and you need materials to be able to do what you would like to do. For example, we would like to create furniture. So of course, you need wood. You need different types of wood. You need nails. You need metal that will put them together. You need the paint, the varnishing, and so forth. So you will notice we need certain requirements. If you'll be making a car, and we are in an automotive industry, we have all the elements. You need the wheels, you need the engine, you need the windows, right? And what is very obvious, my dear friends, is that if there are certain items that are missing, we cannot completely make what we intend to do. Our body is actually a building. St. Paul said our body is the temple of God. And as a temple, it implies it's a building, and the building has to be built. The building has to be maintained and repaired at all times. So the way to build, maintain, repair the body, one of them is food intake. And did you notice the moment we were born, the first thing that the child has to take is food. So we take the food as our mother's milk. That's the first food that we would take. And we would do breastfeeding for, let's say, 12 months. And then after 12 months, we will now, let's say, have the adult diet. And the idea is you have to have a well-balanced meal. A well-balanced meal, for a review, is you have energy foods, you have bodybuilding foods, and you have vitamins and minerals. If you lack any of these items, especially vitamins and minerals, which comes from fruits and vegetables, you need food supplementation. So the idea, my dear friends, is that if we have a well-balanced meal, food supplement may probably not be required. However, what is happening now is that the quality of the nutrients we're taking seems to be lower because of soil erosion, for example, because of pollution. So it seems that we don't get everything in the pristine state. Therefore, that's one good reason why supplementation is needed. Now, you can now see in our slide the evolution of food supplements. First, the focus was on having vitamins, and one prominent vitamin is vitamin C, and then you have vitamin A, D, E, and even K. right? These are vitamins, and then we also focus on minerals, right? So it's a vitamin and mineral supplementation. And then in the 80s, where there is now research done on botanicals, where they were able to derive and identify certain extracts or item coming from food. But this is on top of the vitamins and minerals. So we call this botanicals. And then later on, the focus was on antioxidation, because research have shown that the cells of the body are constantly being exposed to free radicals, and free radicals can injure the cell, and therefore you have to shield yourself from free radicals. So we call this the antioxidants. Actually, oxidation is a side effect of oxygen, and since we are breathing every day, therefore we have what you call the reactive let's say elements coming from oxygenation. So it's always there. So we have to protect ourselves from free radical attacks. So we have now the antioxidants. And then later on, the focus was now on, let's say, enhancing the cell itself. So we now have stem cells coming from the plants, right, for example. And we now have, let's say, stem cells that will stimulate the stem cells of the body to guide in the building, maintaining, repair of the cells of the body. And then recently, there is now the focus on nucleotide supplementation, because if you would look at the chart, which we'll be showing in a little while, the vital role of DNA stability or DNA integrity. And the body is composed of many systems. There are 12 generally, and then each system has organs, right? And each organ has tissue and cell, and each cell has the nucleus, and inside the nucleus are the chromosome, and inside the chromosomes are the DNA, and inside the DNA obviously is the nucleotides. Nucleotides is part of the structure of the DNA. The DNA has the phosphate group, it has the sugar group, and then the bases, which are the nucleotides. So recent evidence have noted that the stability of the DNA seems to be very paramount and important, because it will actually regulate almost everything in the body. The DNA contains the blueprint. The DNA has the code. The DNA will be giving the instructions on what has to be created. And then when things are created, then the focus is now on the function, okay? Function of the, let's say, parts of the body. So here it is, you now have the body, right? Inside the body are organs, tissue, and cell. The cell typically is being shown as circular, and then there's an inner circle, which is the nucleus. But in truth, the cell comes to us in different forms. It's not generally circular. It can be rectangular, it can be oblique. But for educational purposes, we have a rounded cell, and in the middle of the cell is the nucleus. But between the nucleus and the cell membrane, there are many microscopic organ parts. We call it organelles. And let's say we have the lysosomes, so we have the ribosomes, so we have the mitochondria, right? We have the different, let's say, elements present there. It's like a one big factory with many machines inside. But our focus now is inside the nucleus. If you look at the nucleus, you can see that there is another nucleus. We call it the nucleus. But we can now see the chromosomes. And there are 46 chromosomes. Each cell has 46 chromosomes. And there are 99.8 identical in all of the cells of the body. So that's why the code is present in every cell of the body. And you have about 100 trillion cells in the body. And we usually say if your cells are healthy, you're healthy. If the cells are weak, you're weak. That's very basic. But when we study the different parts of the cell, especially the chromosome, we take out one chromosome. It has 4 legs. We call those legs telomeres. In each leg or telomere, it's a bundle of, let's say, strings of DNA. So biochemically, we extend one DNA strand, and that will be, let's say, about 6 or 8 feet long. It will contain about 50 million DNA all connected to each other, and we called it the gene or the genome. But if you look closely inside each DNA are the bases or the nucleotides. And guanine is a nucleotide. It's always paired with cytosine. So it's guanine, cytosine, or cytosine, guanine. And then you have thymine. It's always paired with adenine. So it could be thymine, adenine, or adenine, thymine. So that alone is already giving you an idea that there is a certain process inside where the code is now begins to be, let's say, directed. And then when the RNA copies the code, the thymine is converted to uracil, which is also a nucleotide. So there are 5 types of nucleotides. So inside the DNA are the nucleotides. That is basic science. And recent research have shown that if there is instability to the DNA, then it will obviously affect almost every function of the body. So they also observe that when there is lack of nucleotides, there will be DNA instability or nucleotide deficiency leading to genomic instability. And it's therefore very important to know or to realize that nucleotides should always be supplied. Now, the body creates nucleotides. We call it the de novo pathway, and then it also creates nucleotide from dietary sources, which is salvage pathway. So our nucleotide, body nucleotides, come from 2 sources. One created by the body, one derived from nutrients or dietary sources. So we have endogenous nucleotides versus exogenous nucleotides. So exo, it means it comes from the outside. So we have, let's say, body nucleotides, and we also have dietary nucleotides. For example, here is one title in our research, just to give an idea on how it is worded. And I quote, "The effects of dietary nucleotides, let's say in immune response, physical state, or even in respiratory support," unquote. That's one example of a study in nucleotide research. But take note, it's said or directly said dietary nucleotides. So you know it's emphasizing the nucleotides coming from exogenous source. So when will I know if my nucleotide supply is low? And since it's low, the body has to work overtime to maintain the nucleotide level. But here is now the challenge and the problem. When we are weak, sick, exhausted, fatigued, then obviously we need more nucleotides. But the unfortunate thing, it will now appear that the body may not be able to cope in producing the required amounts of nucleotides. And for the body to do that, it needs a lot of energy, or ATP. But here's now the problem. You need more energy, but you need more energy to create more energy. Let's say you need more ATP to create nucleotides. And ATP is the energy currency of the body. Therefore, research have shown that there is now therefore the need. It now becomes an essential nutrient, semi-essential or conditional or essential, essentially needed. It depends on the state or the status of the person. So what are the keywords? When you feel weak, when you feel exhausted, when you feel so tired or fatigued, then obviously you need nucleotide supplementation. And if I may add, the moment we are aging, as we age, it's no-brainer, the ability of the body's function starts to decline. And that also includes the nucleotide production. Therefore, when we start to get older, we probably would be needing food supplementation and specifically nucleotide supplementation. Then, why specifically nucleotide supplementation? Because that is exactly what is needed. For example, like my colleague in the medical team, Dr. Mario Ramirez, his favorite analogy is, let's say the house is damaged due to the typhoon. So you need materials to repair the house. You need roofing materials. You need wood. You need nails. Right? For example, the roof of our house was destroyed. You have to order roofing materials specific to the problem. So it's the same thing. If there is lack of nucleotide, the supplementation should include nucleotides. It's simple, my dear friends, to know if your food supplement has nucleotide supplement added. You simply look at the label, look at the ingredients, and see if nucleotides are listed as part of the supplements that you're taking. If it has, then good. Now, here is one food supplement that's now available in the market, Imorigen food supplementation. If you look at the ingredients, it has complex dietary nucleotides, it has amino acids, it has peptides, oligopeptides, and minerals. So it has nucleotides, so therefore it can be a good supplement that I think everyone would take. If you have food supplements, then continue, but you have to add nucleotide supplementation because obviously most food supplements does not have nucleotides. And in our Imorigen preparation, we have several of them. We have the Immune Plus, which is the Imorigen in tubes. It has 20 tablets, 20 effervescent tablets. You just put one effervescent tablet to 250 ml water or 1 glass of water and just let it evaporate with bubbles. And when it's clear, just take it. It will give you 0.18 milligrams of Imorigen. If you take the Imorigen capsule, it has 0.5 milligrams of Imorigen. If you take the Imorigen glucan, this is Imorigen plus glucan, it's 0.3 milligrams Imorigen and 50 milligrams glucan. And then we add the fulvic minerals because we are after the additional trace minerals. And the fulvic is well researched and it comes from ancient plants. These are the plants that are so huge that up to this day they're still, let's say, under the soil and very much alive, quote and unquote, meaning it has nutrients that will support the life of the human being. But at the level of trace minerals, it has about 70 trace minerals. And the trace minerals are very important to the cell membrane and to every part of the cell to build, maintain, repair itself. Okay, so did I answer the question, my dear friends, why you need food supplementation? And now let's summarize. If you have a well-balanced meal and all the nutrients are there, you don't need food supplementation. That is in a general way. But if you don't eat a well-balanced meal because you're always in a hurry and you don't plan your meals well, at least compensate by taking food supplementation. And research have shown the vital importance of nucleotide supplementation. And that's where our Imorigen comes in to contribute to the vast array of food supplements that is helping the human being. Okay, so this is your friend, Dr. Arle Imperio, always reminding everyone to point to God, the source of our life, the source of our health, the source of our prosperity. And of course, our focus is on prevention, and always remember that preventive medicine or prevention is always, always, always better than getting the best cure. Until our next video episode, this is your friend, Dr. Arle. God bless. And in the Philippines, we say, mabuhay.